Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with 4 race starts. We're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. Kortekeer has started to push on back through at the front of this group. They are not letting riders get back into this group.
Lytton, McAlpine, Wagner and Sanchez have come to the front of the Category 2 race. They are on the climb at the moment, and you can see on that camera shot on the left-hand side of your screen, that is the Category 1 race. Kristen Kolczynski, Catherine Fuhr have blown, well actually Kolczynski has blown this field apart.
7 riders in the lead of Category 4. They're about to be joined. If you try to jump on this express train, it's going to rip your arm off.
It's a bullet train.
It's absolutely flying. You're not going to be able to get on board that. You just can't do it. But look at the speed of Catherine Fuhr. She's put 3 seconds into Kolczynski. Fuhr wants that polka dot skin suit. She's out of the saddle, sprinting here to go over the top, and she's making those riders behind work. We've got Category 2 riders sitting on the wheel of Kolczynski, so you can see that yellow figure just at the front of this train. That's Kolczynski, the locomotive, pulling along Category 2. We've got Category 3 holding Category 4. This could be the critical moment in this race. Who can stay with the pace and power the longest?
Fuhr is pushing at the moment. She's got 200 metres to go. She's going to come round the corner. She's going to see the UCI banner. Catherine Fuhr is going to win Qualifier 1 on the Sunday Race Club.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 2 of 3 in July 2024. My name is Matt Payne. I'm bringing you all of the race action with the one and only
Emma Martin.
Emma, we had an amazing week.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
On stage racing, and the quote of the week from the other side of the studio was,
I love stage racing.
Because it was absolutely amazing. If you have not watched it, please go back and watch it at the end of today's racing. Today's racing, though, is going to be absolutely fast and furious because we are in Belgium. Emma, take us through the course.
Yes, we are here for Qualifier 2 in July on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and the women are heading to Belgium today. Now, we love this course. The first 6 kilometres of the 35-kilometre race, pan flat, the Ghent City Sprint, that is in the mix though. But 324 metres of climbing starts at 6 kilometres with the Kortekeer. It's the longest climb on the course today at 3.9 kilometres, an average gradient of 2.5%, but do not let that lull you into a false sense of security, because that first kicker goes to 17%. They then run down and through the Tissenhoven-Morvel sprint, up the Valkenberg, down the other side, into the Ikenberg hill and the Ikenberg climb. The combination of climbs there then gives them a 6-kilometre run to the checkered flag.
And that run to the flag is absolutely critical. The riders get that pacing right. It is one of the hidden finishes, which is just around a bend, just around the side. It's a right-hand turn into that bend, and the riders need to be really aware of where that is, keeping a watch of their clocks and the time and the distance that they're on. 4 race starts, as always, on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. And we have Category 1 in yellow, 2 in green, 3 in blue, and our Category 4 riders in the red. They're our first to start, 5 minutes separating the categories out at the start. They're all likely to come together out on our race route. Let's take a look at our teams. First of all, the Petit Four squad: Kristen Hamilton, Natalia Idzig, Nikki Lloyd, Simone Francis, one of the real big hitting teams in Category 4. They're joined by a whole host of riders, Emma.
They are indeed. 29 riders on the start sheets in Category 4 today. Now, Bago took the win last week. She's also taken the win previously here in Belgium, back Qualifier 1 in June. So she's got to be tipped to be the favourite and a marked woman today. Vasquez Alvarez in here, Rachel Kennedy, Camilla Belle in here, Adriana Barco, Alicia Fielder. I could keep going, but the seconds are ticking down to the start of the Category 4 race today. So away go Category 4 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is Qualifier 2 for July 2024, and we're going to Belgium. Well, we're not going to Belgium.
We've
gone to Belgium.
We've gone, yes, get the
Belgium.
right tense.
The Fritz and Mayo are at the cafe at the end.
Whoa, let's just rewind that. So, anybody who hasn't been to a Belgium cycle race or event, there is a institutionalized need and tradition that any cycling event has. Fritz, which is basically chips, so basically potatoes cut into long thin strips.
In America.
They're fries in America. They are cut into long thin sections, about what's going to be about 6 to 8 centimeters long. They're about 8 millimeters across. They are then dipped in a very unique type sauce that is called mayo.
It's not American mayonnaise.
It is definitely not what most people would think of as mayonnaise. It is its own unique mix.
Mustardy.
It is mustardy as well. Yeah, it is an absolutely. And you think you get that? I'm not going to. I don't.
I really
want
want
any of those.
Some mayo right now.
But after about 5 minutes, you do, don't you?
Cone of newspaper.
Yeah. It's not necessarily the best racing fuel. It may well be, if our riders who have been distanced already on our race route, it may be because they've basically been eating too many too quickly at the start of the day, because it isn't necessarily the healthiest of things, but it's great when you stood at the side of the road in Belgium, cheering on the riders on one of the Meurs, one of the Bergs, or maybe on a cyclocross race where it is inevitably cold, even when it's sunny. Unlike around the globe, and we've got riders from around the globe here today. Lots of the riders racing out on our course here today have been in action over a long time now on MyWhoosh. It's great to see them coming back week in, week out, but we always have new riders as well. And we've got riders in here who put in some fantastic performances in this last week as well. Now, Natalia Idzik back with us again. Good to see Natalia. Nice to see the speed with which, I'll tell you something, Natalia's internet connection is super fast because she was waving straight away there. Great to see Natalia back with us again. This start clearly comfortable for Natalia, able to wave, concentrate and race simultaneously.
Well, she finished third last week on the outer loop in Australia, so some strong performances coming in from Idzik at the moment. She's got Kennedy, Sarasu, Narvaez, East, Ferron, Kirchner, Tanglian, Kennedy, all in that group with her. It's a big group of Category 4 riders, and they are rolling through this flat section in the early part of Belgium.
Now, we've got Sarasu on our screen at the moment. That's all we did have, just jumped across to Francis here. Sarasu we were in with at the moment. A rider who was racing really strongly through this last week in the GCC. Summer Championships, and the GCC Summer Championship, a great race, and the sprints there being rewarded.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Fanucci Korn Sarasu was indeed on the 5-day stage race we were talking about Monday to Friday this week. She's had a day off. She's obviously feeling strong enough to come back. This has got to be her 6th day of racing in 7 days. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how
7 and 8, I think.
How her legs are, but Narvaez is the rider pushing on the front at the moment. They're coming through the first sprint segment of the day. This is the Ghent City Sprint.
So the Ghent City Sprint, it takes our riders in through. It's the first tester. Our sprints throughout the day today, 300 metres, 2 sprints. We have the Ghent City Sprint and then the Thistlehoven Moorland Sprint, which is the Windmill Sprint. And that comes after the climb of the Kortekeer and then the big descent off the other side. So straight through they've gone. Navies at the moment holding the fastest time there. We'll see if that's going to stand the test of time. We'll have a look at those results maybe a little later on. And we're going to go in with our Category 3 teams. Now, the Grandmide Gear squad, this contains Novelin Kekkonen, Stefani Piccolo and Tanya Howeiler, riders who we know are going to be in the mix. All three of them have been riding incredibly strongly. They were for a long time in the team with Angel Hadlock. Hadlock, though, moving up to the Category 2. So Category 3 was quite wide open. Now we're going to dive into those results because it did make a difference last time out on qualifier race number 1. We'll dive in with them in a moment. But let's get our riders away here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, the UCI partner for 2024, 25 and 26. And underneath that UCI banner go our riders as they head out onto the course here in Belgium, in Bruges, heading out for the 35 kilometres and 324 meters of racing.
Oh, Category 3 riders. 35 riders on the start sheets today in Category 3. It's our largest race field and some really strong riders in here. You know, Georgina Jones came up from Category 4 very recently, and it is interesting, I think, to see how she really starts to settle in this group. But Kekkonen in here, she's been taking part in that 5-day stage race. It's going to be interesting to see how she goes because she was very, very strong over those 5 days. De Silva is here, Marin, Alzat, Hyde, Vink is in here, so is Emma Sonnerson. Holly Bergin took a 4th place last week. Montoya took 1st. Catherine Tompkinson is in here as well. Now, if I remember rightly, she's a very punchy rider. So this course could well suit her. Takanis is here. Estelle Simpkin. And Philippa Hill, of course, who always rides very strongly where there's any hills involved.
Now, we talked about the tour last week. That is for the nations involved in the GCC. That's the Gulf Corporation Council. But before that, we had qualifier race number 1.
We did.
And qualifying race number 1 was it was really interesting because I thought with people moving up and down the categories, I thought last week's qualifier race number 1 was a really interesting race with lots of different riders, maybe just taking that opportunity with that reshuffle. It's that little spur, isn't it, sometimes?
Yes, and we did indeed, July has indeed seen quite a lot of movement between the categories and riders progressing up and down. And some of the riders really taking the opportunity of that lack of expectation of who is going to take that top spot really moving forward. Now, Alexandra Knowles is one of those riders. It's great to see her in here. And the rider with the best artwork in her room.
Alexandra, with the showcase, every single week we get a different set of pictures on the easel. Fantastic pictures. I'm absolutely loving this.
And of course, she is the artist.
Yeah, indeed, a fantastic artist. Brilliant to see. And the casquette, the hat as well, which is brilliant. So it's ticking all the boxes at the moment. Great paint cave, great art, and the hat on as well. And out racing really well. Fantastic.
One day we're going to do a casquette week.
Hat week.
Yes, we are indeed. But at the moment, we're in with Geneva Elos in this mix. She's in the group here. Kekkonen is there. Ruby is there. Caligula is there. Hyde, Knowles, Estelle. This is a strong group. There's a big group, and they've only really dropped one rider by the look. Now, the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, an absolutely fabulous graphic to really see what is going on in the racing. And we can just see a rider getting distance off the back of the group. There indeed is Geneva Elos with the windows open and the curtains waving in the breeze, that breeze being caused by the fan in front of her. But that big group, nobody really going at all for this sprint, just continuing to ride at a very steady pace through the Ghent sprint segment.
I think Jennifer Ellis has been on camera probably as much as we have over the last few days with that a strong rider there. Now, let's see if she can replicate that. A lot of our riders, Emma, will come out of that and they're going to be strong riders and they're going to be strong. Interestingly, though, in that sprint, it's Knowles who comes in here. May well be that the training that she's been doing in between is really starting to pay off here and taking that sprint time. So she goes to the top of the standings. It's category 4 rider behind. Naves taking the spot in 2 overall. So in terms of between categories 3 and 4, that is the riders in the categories in the red and in the blue. At the moment, one of each in the top 2. Time to move to category 2. This is our next set of riders to take to our start time. And we have no teams declared on the start sheet. However, I'm sure a lot of these riders will be working out who they're going to ride with when we come to our finals. Category 2, I mean, this is... it's uber competitive, and it's only been made more so by the new arrivals.
Well, Hadlock is one of the new arrivals, and she's been absolutely dominating the top of category 3. So well-deserved move up for her. We'll talk a little bit more about category 2 and the riders on the start sheets in a moment, but they are in the pen. They are now away, up and out onto the Belgium course. 35 kilometres of racing, 324 metres of climbing await them before the checkered flag. They've got 4 climbing hill segments to progress through before they find the finish. And the pack are up and rolling very, very quickly at 43 kilometres an hour out of the start pen. Mabin, Wagner, Pruitt, Embring, Johnson, Jaramillo, Lundin, all in the mix here. Vicky Whitelaw here. Now, Julia Montgomery took the win last week in Australia. Smithers was 3rd. Lytton was 2nd. Svardström took a 5th. And Wendy McAlpine, she's a strong rider, you know, taking 4th place. Now, they are not the only riders here today by a long shot. Lam Kong is in the mix, always goes well on this course. Stefania Sanchez is here. She is also a strong rider. Dana Davidson and Dana Wagner. I wouldn't discount either of those two either, because they are very, very strong riders.
When you look down the list, there are so many names that could take this. It really, really does leave it wide open.
It does, and last week was really interesting racing in Category 2. We've seen a number of riders progress to Category 1, and we'll talk about that in a short while. But on the Australian Outer Loop in Qualifier 1, 36 seconds separated the top 7 riders in this category. The racing is very, very close and very, very competitive. These are really well-matched races.
It is. It's almost a very close category where the field is incredibly well matched. And I think also the style of racing that the riders put in. I always love Emery's very much of the commentary team, the statistician and the mathematician, and driven by data and facts. I'm very much driven by feel and look and style and how the riders are portrayed, how they race. That thing that's so hard to quantify. And for me, I think these riders all are very similar in style. There are differences, but they're more subtle in here. You've got absolutely class riders here. Emily Mabin, we know, has got a fantastic sprint, great rider all rounder. Jermaine Prado, multiple time champion. We've got Julia Walkenhurst, really, really strong rider, and Julie Montgomery, who I think probably was the rider of the week last week in qualifier number 1, certainly in the category. I thought her performances were so strong throughout the racing, but this week it could all change again, and I think these 4 riders really do sort of show just how strong this category is. I mean, if you could pick any 4, but these 4, it works very, very well.
It does indeed, and you are quite right, Matt. It is a very, very strong category. And I can tell you another piece of evidence that tells me this is a strong category. And if we go back to the June final, which is only a few weeks ago, in terms of the team competition, it was the closest team competition out of all 4 categories. The Velocity Vikings took the win from the Globetrotters, bearing in mind 3 riders' times added together, 46 seconds the winning margin. So very, very close. That 46 seconds comparison to 1 minute 44 in category 1, 4 minutes 48 in category 3, and 1 minute 19 in category 4.
Okay, that really does drive that on. That does give you a really good indication there of how strong. Another strong rider, Rebecca Johnson, in there. Don't worry if you're worried about the fact that it looks like there's a mini earthquake going on in England at the moment with that light shade spinning about. We saw the curtains flying about behind Elos as the fan was blowing. This, I'm sure, is the fan blowing the light shade around.
Yes.
It's not because the whole ground is shaking. If it was, I think we probably would feel it here in the studios. We're deep underground here in the Full Speed Event studios, Emma and I. We're going to see some earthquakes. We are going to see the ground movers, these guys set up, because these guys are going to produce some serious power. This is the peak performance, the Sweat Sensations and the Fetto Skier. Now, let's run through the teams here. Peak performers, Van Hove, Kolczynski, Bjarhead and Sidlik.
Yes.
Don't need to say anymore. Don't say anymore. Just going to say yes. That literally, it's like, okay. Then, Sweat Sensations, Velt, Fuhr, Bruni and Koistinen.
Yes.
And then, Fetto Skier, Kalman, Bassoni and Giovanni.
Yes.
They can all climb. They can all race.
They are all phenomenal teams.
The phenomenal teams, the phenomenal riders in Category 1 move off from the start pens. It is the final wave away on qualifier race number 2 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It is going to be a flyer, but we have 35 kilometers, 324 meters of ascent, 2 sprints, 4 categorized climbs, and a whole lot of pain and suffering between here and that
Can
finish.
I just tell you something? I am really looking forward to this race today. Look at the number of yellow jerseys on that screen. 28 riders on the start sheets today. And I can tell you, this is the return of the bees.
Ooh.
Emma Belforth is back on the start line, and so is Lou Bates. Well, I am really looking forward to seeing what Belforth and Bates can do today. We've not seen them race for some time on the Sunday Race Club, but they have both taken top spots before. Well, taking the top spot last week was Catherine Fuhr. She took the top spot from Kolczynski, Bruni, Holdcroft and Soderstrom, who were 2nd and 4th last week. 2nd and 4th, last time on this course, are not here today. Mary-Kate McCarthy took 4th place last week. Great to have her in the top 5 for the first time. Joanna Tidholm took 5th place. That was a great ride. Now, the young rider from Category 2 has progressed to Category 1, Hannah Giannatti. And she's a punchy rider, Matt, and normally always goes really well on this course. So I'm looking forward to seeing how she starts to grapple with Category 1. And I'm sure it's not going to be long before that young rider finds her legs in this category and really starts to progress even more.
Yeah, I've really been impressed by her progression.
Yeah.
And the improvement and the ride in her economy of effort when she needs to, and then being smart and when she's using it and putting that power down when it's really effective. That has really improved over the last few weeks and months of watching her on the Sunday Race Club, and I think that is why we're seeing that reward, just one of the reasons. Now, somebody who has been with us for a little bit longer is Ursula Kasani. Ursula riding on the platform for a few years now and racing with us on the Sunday Race Club for a few years now. A very strong esports rider. And you can see at the moment just keeping those revs spinning nice and high, a cadence of 102. So that's the pedal revs there, just spinning those legs out, just making sure everything's moving supplely and it's moving smoothly and keeping that economy of movement. And that is one of the key things, isn't it? I mean, to be a Category 1 rider, you have got to have done thousands and thousands, if not millions, of pedal strokes on the way round, and that is going to get you that is not kilometers but actual pedal revs. Because if you think about that, I mean, you're turning 100 revs a minute, let's say you do 80 or 90 or even 60, you're going to do millions. And that efficiency, not wasting energy in any of those pedal strokes, because it all adds up. It's really, really key, and that it shows in Category 1 when we see them.
I think every single cyclist around the world, if you were able to count and continue to count your pedal revs, that would be an interesting but very large number.
I dread to think. I mean, I'm not I'm no spring chicken.
I don't know whether there's any mathematicians out there who can tell me what the largest number in the world is, or whether there is a stop somewhere. There can't be a stop in terms of numbers, can
Infinite.
there?
It just, you can't say them in a show for a start. That would disappear. Not even you,
Maybe
Emma.
I need a conversation with a mathematician. But
not even you can say all the numbers in the world in one show.
Well, anyway, there we go. So the Ghent City Sprint comes early in this course today at 2 kilometres, and Alexandra Knowles from Category 3 setting the fastest time, 27.173 of a second. Juliette Narvaez, the rider in 2 from Category 4. Then it's Jones, Elos, Herrero. Sophie Giovanni is the fastest Category 1 rider through there. Then Giuliano, Hill and De Silva from Category 3. In 10th position, Ella Vink from Category 3 as well. That Category 3 pack all moving through there at the same pace. Now, really interesting, Category 3 pack moving through, actually the fastest pack on the road going through that section. Category 4, the second fastest pack on the road. Category 2, third fastest. Category 1, they were the slowest pack on the road through the Ghent City Sprint.
This plays to what I regularly say on the show, which is that Category 1 are the most cynical, efficient, professional. They use their energy when it is needed and only when it is needed. They are rarely wasteful of the power and their speed.
Well, I'll tell you something. Power and speed is what Natalia Idzik needs at the moment, because she's just gone under the end of the Kortekeer banner. She's just picked up that polka dot skin suit. So Category 4 were the first group of riders up and out of the start pen earlier today. They're at 9.9 kilometres, and Idzik goes over the Kortekeer in first place. But she's got company, and this is really interesting. Nikki Lloyd, Katie Bago, Milena Alvarez, Rachel Kennedy, Manuela Vasquez, Simone Francis, all in this group. So it's still a great size group, and we can see Nikki Lloyd in there at the moment. Fabulous to see her, but she's right at the front of this Category 4 race.
And using that energy wisely. This is where you've got to use it. You've got to use it at the top of the climb. Push over the tops, open the gap up, stretch it out. How many have you got in this lead group, do you think there, Emma?
9 riders in this leading Category 4 group.
So 9 riders going over the top. If you put your energy in too early on the flight, you wasted any of that, and then you got dropped. Now, you would never know whether you would have stayed there. If you are there, you use it when you need to use it. Now, on this climb, you can see we are on part 2 of the climb here, which is the Kortekeer with Category 3. They've already done the first part of the climb with the big 17% kicker on it. They've dropped back down a little bit, and they're now on the run up to the line, the corner, that sharp left-hand turn at the very top is the apex of the climb. That's where you've got to really make sure that you are on the wheels, because you go up fast and you descend fast, and the transition is not long on this. And then there's 2 flat sections on the way down where you could potentially chase, but that group of riders on our screens is there. It's rolling well at the moment, and I think this group are going to distance rest. Emma, it's 15 seconds back by the look of those clocks between this lead group and group 2. 15 seconds, it's hard to pull back, but the group behind looks quite big.
It does, and it's not that far behind at the moment. You can see on the bottom left-hand side of your screen the multiple groups of this Category 3 race. Currently, we've got 5 riders at the front, and it's less than 10 seconds back. That is going to be one big chase on the other side to bring that group back together again. So on the right-hand side of your screen, it's the leading 5 riders in Category 3. Bergen, Montoya and Estelle are in that group. On the left-hand side of your screen, it's the leaders in the Category 2 race, and they have pretty much got to one of the steepest sections on the Kortekeer, and it is a big group of riders still in contention there as we drop back in with these 5 riders at the front of Category 3: Estelle, Hill, Bergen, Montoya and Herrero.
So here we go, over the top, the climb banner comes, underneath the polka dots we go. Remember, the riders going up there, we get the polka dot skin suit if they hold the fastest time on the first of our climbs. But then as we move through the race today, the points that are amassed throughout the day then give us the totals, and it will be the rider with the most overall points. At the moment is Lucy Esdale, who holds that fastest time in that leading group. I don't think we're going to see a faster time come from behind, because all of those riders pretty much entered the climb together. They weren't split at that point, as we see Category 2 and Dana Wagner in that leading group go over part 1 of this climb. So they're at the top of the first section of the climb. They're going to drop down, and you can see the profile top right hand side as we start to drop down. Dana Wagner, and you see just taking the opportunity there, the towel, the bottle, that's all key. Make sure you do that at the right moment. Go over the top, jump in with the group, get in the draft, as you can see with the green numbers of watts that are shown center of the screen display. That is good timing, smart riding. Make the most of these opportunities, because now we're going to go straight along this flat section, and it turns at the end. We drop again, and then we're on to part 2, and that is where we've just seen categories 3 and 4 go over.
Well, we have indeed, and the second group on the road behind this group of category 2 leaders is not far behind, and I think they're going to come together and be one long train.
Well, yeah, okay.
There you go. Look at that. They've just made connection.
Well, they have. We'll come back to them in a moment. We're going to see if that train stays together, or whether the carriage is behind and the Gars wagon will become unhitched. Now, as they go on to part 2, we're underneath the climb banner. This is category 1. These should be the fastest riders up the climb. They may just be taking it steady through the sprints, but my goodness, they are going to climb like a complete and utter angel. Which is the term for climbers. Climbing like an angel is a term used for riders in the Grand Tours, like the Giro, the women's Giro that we've just seen, and in the Tour de France for the men.
Well, I think they're going to climb like an express train today, and Engstrom is up and out the saddle and showing us the amount of work and the amount of pressure on those pedals that is required to stay in this front group in Category 1. Tidholm, Kasani, Belfort, Menendez, Vittori, Engstrom, Coinston, McCarthy are all in this group. Van Hove is here as well. So is Columbi and Bates. Tilly Field back again as well.
Now, just watching, we just saw Cornelia Engstrom down on the left-hand side of the screen, just taking a look at this. Do you think that there may have been a better place to position yourself coming into that climb? Because we could just see them looking at the climb, looking to try and see, I think, who was in front. That's certainly who I'm looking. Because the position when you're at the back of this group, it's so hard to see what's going off at the front, whether there's a gap opening. As you go into a climb, and you're a good climber, and Engstrom is an amazing climber. We see that week in, week out. She performs every single week, absolutely in front of the racing. You would want to be nearer to the front, wouldn't you? I would, certainly.
Well, I mean, it does depend. I mean, let's bear in mind, some of these riders and racers race week in, week out, and you cannot put in your best performance every single Sunday, 50 plus weeks of the year. But at the moment, Bruni, Gonzalez, Ruhr, Kolczynski, Field and Sidlick with Belfort are the riders at the front of this group. In fact, there is Dorothy Gonzalez Ruhr, and you can see the work that she is putting in to stay with the front of that pack. The company is phenomenal. The work going in here. Look at the stretch on that group already, and they've not hit the steepest section. The steepest section of the Kortekeer climb is at 17%. It's a very, very short section, and you can see on the top right-hand corner of the screen where the profile of the climb is. The riders are about to hit it.
And the speed will come right off here. You should see that drop. It's down to 14 kilometers an hour because of the steepness. This nasty gradient, it really bites into your legs. You can see it on this camera angle as we climb the hill here. The riders getting spread out across the slopes here, and the gaps between the riders will only magnify when the gradient then starts to ease. It's just starting to drop now for Dorothy Gonzalez Ruhr, the Colombian rider on the climb at the moment, chasing Bruni chasing Kolczynski, chasing Bates, chasing Fuhr. Now, Fua putting the pressure on here at the front, really starting to rip this up. Korczynski and Bruni and Fua are the riders expected to be there. They seem to deliver most weeks, if not quite all. However, we see riders in and interrupting. We're seeing that with Lou Bates at the moment. Strong ride by Bates straight off from the gun here on the first climb.
It's great to have her back, on the Sunday race. Yep. We know she's a strong, punchy rider, and this type of course is really going to suit her.
Interesting to see that Justine Menezes and Mina Coinston are both back up here. Now, I've been keeping an eye on what our riders have been up to through the week, and certainly Mina Coinston putting in the training this week, putting in some serious Ks on the turbo. And I think very interesting to see just how hard these riders are working to be up at the front of the race now, and doing that by setting a good week in beforehand.
Well, I was just thinking, Matt, talking about Lou Bates there, I was thinking, I'm sure she's won in Belgium before, and just a little glance at my notes tells me I was correct. Back qualifier 2 in February, she took the win on this course in 56 minutes and 8 seconds. I can tell you, though, that Catherine Fua has gone faster than that. She set the fastest time, qualifier 1 in June, 55 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay, so Fua could be the one to beat, could be Bates. Who is it going to be here? It is a very punchy course. It's a very sharp course in terms of those gradients. Sometimes we get rippling, rolling courses. There's smooth transitions into them, smooth transitions over the top of them. Here in Belgium, you're on the flat, or you're going up something that's trying to tear you later.
I'll tell you something I'm willing Mina Coinston on at the moment. She's right off the back of that leading group of 5 in Category 1. I seriously want her to close that down and come back, make that a group of 6, because that would be a great position for Coinston. Well, we're back in with Category 2. They're 11.2 kilometres now, 11.3 kilometres into this race. They are just off of the descent of the Kortekeer.
So just in with Angelica Altamirano here in this group as they come down in through, sits back down on that bike at the moment, keeping those legs spinning around, looking good, jumps back out of the saddle, and like many people, using that body weight, just jumping out, kicking down on the pedals, jump back in again, just making sure that she's sitting in the right position here. Really interesting the way that she's able to motor her way in through here. The rider in the blue here in Category 3, jumping in with the Category 2 riders.
Well, jumping in with the Category 2 riders, we're jumping back with the Category 1 riders. It's Fua, Korczynski and Bates, Menezes, Bruni and Coinston. These are the riders at the front of this group, and you can see the stretch on that left-hand corner of the screen back down this climb, and you can see Catherine Fua there up and out of the saddle, and the effort going in to take the lead in this group. She's pushing on and she's challenging the other riders in Category 1.
And Fua has been the strong rider, and she is really dominating the race. At the moment, she's opened a gap. Korczynski, Bruni, Bates, Menezes at the moment just sitting back a little bit here. And I think that is, in some ways, a very smart move. I do. This is not a course to solo to the finish from the very first climb. I think they know that okay, let her take if she wants to go racing up for Queen of the Mountains, empty your legs, fine, you knock yourself out. We know that she is going to take a sustained attack on Catherine Fua to put her under pressure. So if she wants to add to that pressure by racing for the top of the climb, help yourself. If it doesn't bring a group across and everybody sits back, then you're going to be there. And you look at those people who are in contention there, they're all very strong riders. Do they need to go chasing Fua on every opportunity? I'm not sure that they do. Riding smart is going to make a big, big difference here today. I think that's going to be absolutely key. Now, when we look at the climb, Fua rewarded for that effort, and look at the amount of power. I mean, 319 watts there. That is a big kick up there. 7 minutes and 9 seconds of effort. Now she goes over just in front there, but she put a big dig in. Now we know Catherine Fua can do that time and time again. The riders behind Bates, Korczynski, Bruni, we expect to see them. Behind them though, Menezes, Coinston, Bjarhead, Larson and Celine Colombi back with us as well.
Indeed, and Stephanie Sidlick, the rider, in 10th position, going over the top of that climb with McCarthy, Belfort, Van Hove, Gonzalez, Ruan, Bassoni. You know, they are still a strong group, and this leading group of 5 now, 20 seconds on the chase group.
Emma, do you know, because you are the person in the know for all things numbers, how many riders are in that group behind?
No.
That's I'm loving the brutal
honesty
honesty
for you. I've not looked at how many riders are in that group behind, so I can't actually tell you.
I can't tell you either.
But I can tell you it is a great sized group, because actually what is happening behind is 2 groups are coming together. So they are 20 seconds. Well, they're actually less than 20 seconds back now, and the 2 groups behind are coming together. So it's going to be very interesting. The chase is going to be on, but those 5 riders at the front of this race today, they are going to want the top 5 positions.
Oh, you can't see, but I've got my hand in the air like I'm back at school. Like, please, let me talk. I've got some of these. It's 11 riders behind.
Well,
I think 11 riders versus 5. Real battle there. Now, when we go to category 2, here we're just in with Kim Bonner-Miller here. You can just see Kim really focused there to make sure she stays in with this group. Adriana Flores just sitting with her. And at the moment, this group on that descent, this fast descent is really, really key, isn't it? Making sure that you get into a group and try and use the speed here to cover that distance fast.
Yeah, it is indeed. And Whitelaw, Jaramillo and Bonilla, a group of 3 riders. It'll be a good group if they can work together. They're 20 seconds back on the next group up the road. This is category 2. Well, this isn't category 2. This is category 3, the leaders of category 3, and they're starting to catch and work their way through category 4 riders. You can see those 2 red jerseys in with them. So Hill, Bergin, Esdale, Herrero,
and then there was silence.
No. I was looking for the 5th rider, because I was looking for Montoya. She is indeed there. I was a little concerned at one point there that Catherine Montoya had been distanced, and I would have been very surprised because she did take the win last week. So the 5 leaders at the front of the Category 3 race are still leading the Category 3 race. And you can see on the top right-hand corner, they are about to go up again.
They're about to hit the Valkenburg. Will they stay together? Up and over the top. Now, we've got all 4 sets of riders on our screen at the moment. Emma, I got you doing some homework, all right? I asked you to do some homework. I'm going to teach now. Emma, have you done your homework this week?
Yes.
The dog did not eat your homework?
The dog did not eat my homework.
Okay, so I asked the most grammatically incorrect question ever with the world's worst English. Who was the most winningest rider?
In Belgium. So
now,
last week, let's just caveat this. The men were in Belgium last week, and you asked this out of the blue in the middle of the men's race last week.
You know everything about it. You are the statistician par excellence, certainly of this team. So I asked a question, and you didn't know. So you set you that as homework. Are any of the riders... Is the rider with the most wins on our screen?
No.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
Really?
So okay, I will tell you what I've done. So Matt asked me the question last week of who out of all the men and all the women had taken the most wins on Belgium. Out of the blue. Now, of course, you know, you can't just go, oh, we've been racing Belgium since 2023 and etc. etc. So I have done my homework, and I can tell you are going to be really surprised.
Okay.
So I've done 2 things.
Go on. Oh, you've done 2.
I've done 2 different things.
Going for
one,
extra
I
star.
can tell you, A, who has had the most wins.
Right.
Out of the men and the women in Belgium.
Go on.
And B, I can tell you who the top performer is out of all the riders, male and female, across all 4 categories, as in who has had the most top 5s in Belgium.
Now, I think what we should do is get Emma to actually put this stats in onto social media in some shape or form. It might actually just have to be a photo of whatever, so we can see her working out as well on the doing the maths as well, because I'm sure Emma's done this probably old school rather than on the computer.
So I'm going to get you to guess. I'm going to get you to guess. So overall, men and women, who do you think is the top performer in terms of the most top 5s in Belgium?
The most top 5.
So who has finished the most times in the top 5 on the Belgium course across
In
all
that
4
category?
men's categories and all 4 women's
Okay,
categories?
so in the women, I'm going to go for Catherine Fua.
Okay.
And in the men, Ruben Dunn.
I can tell you you're wrong on both accounts.
Well, there's a surprise. Not much satisfaction there from Emma,
And
honest.
I have to say, putting this information together, it was a pleasure and a joy. It was a lot of hard work, actually. There's an awful lot of riders. I can tell you, 56 men have finished in the top 5 on the Belgium course since we started using it. And 66 women have finished in the top 5 on the Belgium course since we started to use it.
Okay.
So that gives you the numbers. Okay, the top performer out of all of the men and all of the women with the most top 5s is Lam Kong.
Lam Kong, yeah. Has Lam Kong taken a victory?
5 top 5s Lam Kong has had.
Okay.
2 of them wins.
Wow. Wow, so that's got to put her in the running then, surely, for being the rider who has won the most, rather than just being in the top 5s the most.
Well, let me just give you the runners-up. So Lam Kong has had 5 top 5s. There she is on our screen at the moment. The most decorated top 5 rider out of all the men and all the women in Belgium. Congratulations to Lam Kong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me
brilliant.
just tell you who the runners-up are, and you will realise how phenomenal Lam Kong is. The runners-up with 4 top 5 wins: Lionel Vujasin, Saeed Safrazadi, Catherine Fua.
With how many?
4 top 5s. Lam Kong has had more top 5s than Vujasin, Safrazadi and Fua. Congratulations, Lam Kong. You are a star.
Now we're in with Catherine Fua as the pressure is on in this women's race. They're just on the flat section heading over to the Valkenburg in Category 1. Catherine Fua then in the runners-up with 4...
Top 5.
Top 4 wins.
4 top 5s.
4
I didn't say 4 wins.
Oh, okay.
So shall we move on to wins?
Yes, let's do wins.
Okay, so out of all of the men, so 4 categories in the men.
Yep.
4 categories in the women.
Yep.
56 men in the top 5, 66 women in the top 5.
Yep.
Who has taken the most wins in Belgium?
And I've already had my guess of Catherine Fua shot down.
No, that was about the top 5.
Oh, no, for wins then.
So we're starting again.
Well, Catherine Fua.
You would be correct.
Yay! No way, I've actually got it right.
Out of all the men and all the women racing in Belgium, Catherine Fua takes top spot with 4 wins in Belgium.
Hang on, I'm just taking my headphones off. I'm leaving. I've won.
I don't know
I'm out.
No. You haven't won. Catherine Fua has won. So
Okay.
Fua takes 4 wins. I can tell you that in second place, Neville Ross.
Oh, okay.
And Ollie Jones.
No way. Hang on.
Tie it with 3 wins.
So Andrew Neville, for those people who just watched the women's show, Andrew Neville Ross is not a Category 1 rider.
No.
Ollie Jones is.
Yes.
He's a Category 4 rider, I think, from memory.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Neville
Bear with
Ross?
me a second. Bear with me a second.
I've got the women right.
I'm just rewinding because I have made the rookie error of somebody getting married. Ron
No.
Jones.
Oh, no. Okay.
So, Fua takes the win with 4 wins. Neville Ross has 3 wins.
Yep.
But it's actually Hyde Jones that has 3 wins.
Okay.
Not Ollie Jones.
Oh, okay. So it is Georgina Hyde, as was
Strash
Georgina
Jones.
who is now. Who has got
Which
that
I
3.
love because we've got
Fantastic.
We've got Fua Cat 1, Neville Ross not Cat 1.
He's Cat 4.
Hyde Jones not Cat 1.
No, I think Cat 4 at the moment. So fantastic.
So for me,
Yeah, do you
that
know what?
was a really good afternoon.
Excellent. I'm glad you spent your afternoon productively, and we have managed to sum it up, and hopefully you haven't
I don't
all fallen
really think
asleep
I-
with the numbers. so I'm going to give you the headlines again. The rider with the most top 5s, Lam Kong.
Yes.
The rider with the most wins,
Catherine
Fua. brilliant, and that is across the men's and the women's categories. Well done to Catherine Fuhr for having the most wins so far. Can she add to that tally today? The lead group of riders in Category 1, the 5 riders, on your screens at the moment.
Well, can I tell you, if Catherine Fuhr takes the win today, that would be five wins to Fuhr, 5 top 5s, and she'll equal Lam Kong.
Okay. I thought she had 5 top 5s already. Yeah, top 5 wins already. 4 wins already.
4 wins already.
4 wins already. That'll take it to 5.
God,
No
that's
pressure,
not
Catherine.
been listening.
So many numbers, so many facts. I didn't fall asleep in the middle of them, honest. They're just like, you know that Emma gets excited about numbers. If you watch this show regularly, you know that I get excited about watching our riders racing and in action. And it's a mixture, it's that big combination of all of the things that cycling brings you and the complete unpredictability, even if you have the best stats behind you. Lies, downlies, and statistics that could well and truly change how things go here. So, will we see Fuhr going to the form book, or will it be a day where Catherine's maybe put under pressure? We're coming into the second of our climbs. We are at 18.3k. This is the start of the Valkenberg climb as we come in. Emma's just showed me, just passed a note across the studio. Yeah, we do communicate in throwing bits of paper at each other when we are on air. And it says she has been in the studio too long this week. I don't believe it for a second, even though she's not even getting the numbers that mixed up. Now, the riders at the moment, they know the essential things here. 4 climbs on the course here today. We're on climb number 2 with our leaders in Category 1. This is our top category on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. The second climb, the Valkenberg, really, really tough stuff. This is a 1.3 kilometer hill. This climb, it's steep, it levels a little, and then it rolls off and goes over the lake. And that's where Rebecca Johnson is, who is in the Category 2 race. Bergen, the rider we're in with Category 3, they're further down the road. They're at 23.4k, so they're heading in towards the Ikenberg Hill. In Category 4, well, already they're at 24.4, and they are on to the Ikenberg Hill here, the first of the 2 Ikenberg climbs. So this is climb number 3 that they are on. They are basically already heading in towards that 10k to go marker, and just on the base of this climb at the moment, in with Natalia Izik here, still looking super smooth. That could be a carbon copy of the image we saw of Natalia earlier on, where she's looking basically like she's riding a
24 kilometres
24 kilometres in, 2 climbs in, broken away in the leading group with Lloyd, with Bago, Izik, Alvarez, Vasquez, Kennedy at 1 second.
Yeah, 6 riders.
6 rider group clear. You can see there's a bit of a pan forming here. Small groups going clear in Belgium. They have got the gap, and at the moment it is looking very much the same on our screen in terms of Natalia Izik, her riding position, her style, the pedal revs, still looking super smooth here. So that could be a warning to the rest of the riders. There's plenty more in the tank to go for here. Really great racing in our Category 4, 3, 2 and 1. I'm loving the fact that these riders on this climb are ticking away. They are looking very, very smooth here. There's no yo-yoing, there's no bouncing about. At the moment, it's pretty controlled. Now, let's go back to Category 1. They've gone over the top of climb number 2, over the top of the Valkenberg, and the polka dot jersey has changed hands because it looks like Lou Bates has scored enough of points to do that. Now I'm just going to do a double check there because I thought that Fuhr was leading us over the top of the climb. Here we go. Let's make sure we're on the right one. It is Kortekeer climb. It is Catherine Fuhr it was Lou Bates who held the top of that. Then it was Kolczynski on the Valkenberg. So Kolczynski taking the top spot, Bates in second there. Just leave for Fuhr 5th fastest up that climb, and that is why she's lost the jersey.
Hold on, 0.311 of a second.
But it's enough to lose the points, to drop down. 5 points to Kolczynski, 4 for Bates, 4 for Bates, 3 for Menezes, 2 for Burt, and just for Bruni, and 1 for Fuhr. Now, really good ride by Kelsey J. Van Shaw there. Up against Prado, Walkenhurst, and London, as we see the rest of the Category 1 riders go through. And that is, you can see how long it has taken from the first riders going through, the first group, to that second group on the road to go through. And that is an indication of just how far back they are. I don't think they're making ground. Our top 5 riders should come from that breakaway barring any incidents. And we do see that. It's not all plain sailing.
Well, we do see incidents, but we also see attacks, and Kolczynski's on the front at the moment here. They're moving on to the descent of the Valkenburg. There is a transition between the Valkenburg and the Ikenberg. It is a very flat run. So taking a look here, the Ikenberg hill, well, I'm going to call them the Ikenberg duo combination climb.
Oh, a nice catchy title then. Watch. Oh, shall we make this the world's longest title ever.com? The combination duo pairing complete partnership local area climb.com.
Well, whilst Matt thinks he's funny on the other side of the studio, the Ikenberg hill and the Ikenberg climb are in combination, and they do come one straight after the other. He's just going to roll around laughing.
There's
a little
one
bit
word.
over there.
It's a pair of climbs. There you go. I'm not the concise one normally. Have I done it? Have I managed to pull her off?
Well, no, he hasn't. And here we are with Category 3, and Holly Bergen's come to the fore now. Philippa Hill is on her wheel, so is Lucy Estelle. These riders are now pushing on at 25.1 kilometres into this race. They're up the top nearly of the Ikenberg hill. They are continuing to push now. Bergen, Estelle and Hill working their way now into the top 10 overall on the road. Now let's just remind our viewers, Category 4 started first 5 minutes before Category 3. Category 3 start 5 minutes before Category 2, and Category 2 start 5 minutes before Category 1. So the red jerseys start 15 minutes before the yellow ones. The Category 3 blue jerseys have indeed caught and worked their way into the top 10. It is only the leading 6 riders on the road, the 6 leaders of Category 4, who are ahead of them. Well, this is the leading group in Category 2. They're rolling into the bottom of the Ikenberg hill as Category 3 go over the top, and Category 4 drop down the other side and into the Ikenberg climb. That is a big group leading Category 2 at the moment. So groups leading all of our races so far. Category 3, Bergen is the rider pushing on here. Hill and Estelle covering the move. In fact, this group continuing to have to come together. They are continuing to climb up the Ikenberg hill. Estelle, Montoya, Hill and Bergen currently the fastest 4 over the top.
And steadily catching the riders in Category 4 who set off first here. They are the riders in the red there, just on your screens, dropping down between this combination of hills here. So Bago anchored the front of the race at the moment, going between the Ikenberg hill and the Ikenberg climb. Essentially, if you're out in Belgium, in real life, you'd find that this is basically 2 rows to the same place, just going up the same hill. So it just depends on which way round you go up to the top of the hill, what that shape is. Now, the Category 1 riders, they were the last to set off, as Emma has just said. They're at 23.1k. So over the top of the first 2 climbs, the Kortekeer climb and the Valkenburg. They've gone past both sprints, Ghent City and the Thistlehoven Molen. They are on their run into towards the duo that are coming up the hill first. We're in though with our Category 2 now, and we're in with German Prado. And as you can see, Prado really working in this group. This is a big group of riders, and it's driving the pace on here. Prado's effort, though, just puts up to the front of this group. The rest having to respond. You can see them diving into those yellow chevrons that are indicative that the riders are pushing hard. They go from their standard effort. They go, first of all, into those yellow chevrons, then into the red chevrons. They come, and when those riders dive into those zones, and you can just see the effort going in here from Prado. This is up in her higher zones, 5 and 6 that she's putting in, drops back down, kicks into 6 again. The pace fluctuation here, Emma, really is going to be doing damage to these riders, because sitting at a steady state is a lot easier than this constant having to push and then ease and then push and ease. Nobody wants to go too hard at the front, but everybody wants to stay in touch.
They do want to stay in touch, and that is the real challenge here, isn't it? Because at this point of the race, what do you do? They're just shy of 10 kilometres off the finish line. They know they've got the Ikenberg climb to go. Then they've got a 6 kilometre run to the finish. they've got to make a decision. Either they've got to go hard off the front, or they've just got to stick with the group. And the group at the moment, everybody yo-yoing up and down. So it is really about tactics in a group this big, and about when do you attack if you're going to attack, or are you just going to try and sit in the group and respond to the pace changes and wait for a sprint?
I'm not sure that I would want to wait for a sprint. Let's take a look at what's coming up for our riders as they come through. We've gone over the first of our climbs, the Kortekeer. We've gone over the second, the Valkenberg climb. The Ikenberg hill and climb are coming up. Now, that sprint, Emma, at the end of this race, it's a tricky sprint because of the curve, the right-hand turn into that finishing line. It is relatively flat, but it comes after 2 climbs in close succession. They're not one climb because of that big, long descent, but they are really hard because there's so little recovery time between the two. That can put riders in trouble. If you're going over the top of the climbs, if you're wanting to do the damage and break clear, you're going to put the effort in at the top, aren't you? Because that's where you're going to then get the roll down and get the gap opening up.
Yes, if you want to attack on the Ikenberg hill, Ikenberg climb combination, you really want to go at the top of the Ikenberg hill. And I know that sounds strange, but taking the pace and the momentum off of the top onto the descent will give you more momentum and a faster pace to go into the climb at the bottom. And bearing in mind how steep that is really does help.
And it's super short, so that momentum which might carry for 500 metres, well, 500 metres of that's almost a third of the climb. You'll be getting benefit. If that was a really long climb and you get 500 metres on a 10k climb, it's not going to make that much difference, but on such a short climb it can. Okay, a category 1, we're in with Catherine Fuhr. We are at 25k. We're at 10 kilometres to go. Leading group here, Emma, are really motoring, and Fuhr still showing that she's very much in control here.
Yeah, very much in control. Kulczynski, Bates, Fuhr, Menendez in this group. It is a phenomenally strong group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are, well, it's Merle Bruni who's the 5th rider. They are really now starting to work their way through the back markers in the other race fields. They're just on the heels of one of our category 3 riders.
They are, and I'm sorry, I was just thinking about the riding combination of these riders who are in here. The rider who we probably, if you're a new viewer, you may not have seen, Justina Menendez back in with us and up at the front of the race here. My memory of Menendez is that she is a rider who excels when we have a long climb.
Yes.
However, we have seen riders change. We've seen Catherine Fuhr work on her long climb ability and really be very, very strong on that from not being as strong. Now, Menendez, from my memory, she was always strong on the longer, bigger climbs. Maybe she's come back and pushed on here. What's your memory? Well,
I agree with you. She has always been very, very good. So the year but her feet back in January, she finished 4th. She finished, she says, just taking a little look, she finished 2nd on the Jebel Yace in the January final as well.
2 very long climbs.
But in December, the women's final was on the outer loop in Australia, where the climb is in the middle and then it's a long run to the finish. She took 4th place that day, so she can do both.
Although the outer loop is still, it's what, 5k climb, I think, if I remember correctly.
It is a big climb in the middle.
In the outer loop.
Well, Kulczynski, Bruni, Bates, Fuhr and Menendez setting the fastest time through the Ikenberg hill. Well, that's the Ikenberg hill. This is the Ikenberg climb, and our top 4 riders on the road at the moment. The 4 leading riders in category 4, Alvarez, Vasquez, Bago and Idzik. They've just gone over the Ikenberg climb. The 4 of them riding very, very strongly together and hot on their heels. Hill, Esther and Bergin, the 3 leaders now at the front of the category 3 race. Catherine Montoya just getting distance slightly off the back on the climb, but pushing on. So the 2 leading groups, the leading group in category 4, are very closely being followed by the leading group in category 3.
And category 2 are just behind them, and category 1 have just gone over the top of the climb that we've just been talking about. It's almost a combination climb with this one as well. So we are talking about at that point, the leaders of category 1 going over the top of Ikenberg Hill, the top of the Ikenberg climb was the front of the race in totality. That means that 3.2k separating the entire race. Nothing absolutely nothing separating these riders. The groups are going to start to come together. That is going to cause confusion. There's going to be draft available onto the base of the climb that we've just seen. Category 4 crest go the Category 1 leaders. Is this where we're going to see a move on the climb here? Now Fua moving up to 5.5 watts per kilo. Response from Bates heading up towards 7 watts per kilo at the moment. Just seen 6.8 from Lou Bates in response. This is the last opportunity to use the climb to your advantage on the race route. The Ikenberg climb finishes at 29 kilometers. There are then 6 kilometers to the finish, and they are not going to benefit a climb in any way, shape, or form. This is where you've got to make it count if you're going to use the gradient to your advantage. Fua on the offensive here, digging in deep here, going over 6 watts per kilo, really starting to put the pressure on. Is she going to snap any of the riders in Category 1? The moment that group, it's staying together.
Well, it is staying together, and Fua is doing the work on the front, closely matched by Bates and Kulczynski. Bruni is there as well. Now, let's just remember, Merle, Bruni is indeed a teammate of Catherine Fua, so she's not going to attack. She's going to watch the racing. Well, this Category 1 leading group are motoring now on this final climb, 30 kilometers an hour up the Ikenberg climb. Let's just remind everybody, it's 1.6 kilometers in length with an average gradient of 4.7%. These riders are world class that we are watching on our screen. Fua, Bates, Bruni, Menezes and Kulczynski. This could be the leading 5 riders in a world championships, but they are here today on Qualifier 2 of the Sunday Race Club, and they are making short, sharp work of this course in Belgium.
They're absolutely rocketing around. Are we on course? Are we on course for a course record? Are we on a track for the course record?
Well, that is going to be really interesting to see. But if we go towards the front of the race, we can see now Category 3 leaders, Hill, Estelle and Bergin. Well, they've got Nikki Lloyd with them because she's the rider who's been dropped off of this leading group of Category 4 riders at the front. And you can see there, they're taking Nikki Lloyd is sat in that group and she's being towed back up to the leading group of 4. So Alvarez, Hill, Alvarez, Idzik, excuse me, Alvarez, Idzik, Vasquez. She says, I'm trying to remember the other rider who was in that group. That's terrible of me. I've obviously been sat here too long this week. Well, they are working strongly. And take a look at that. Sorry, but Nikki Lloyd has got her head down and she's working hard to close that gap.
She is, and we're going to see the groups Category 3 and Category 4 leaders come together on a flat section. We're going to see that happen in the next few seconds because they are just up in front. We're at 31.8k. The flat run to the finish is going to be absolutely critical here, and this is going to be really, really key. Now, Alvarez in there, Vasquez, Bago, Idzik. They are your 4, all 4 capable of taking a win. Behind them, you can see the leaders in Category 3 coming at speed as well. If the Category 4 riders sit in with them, there is a chance they can stay in if they hide in the draft successfully. It's not draft that you need, though, on the climb because we have got a gap that has opened up now between our leaders and the chasers. The chasers are Kulczynski, Bruni and Menezes in front. The gap is not huge, but it is there. You can see they've gone out of sight, and the time gap at the top of the summit, 6 seconds from Catherine Fua and Lou Bates to Kulczynski, Bruni and Menezes. This snapshot on the race showing our Category 1 riders through so far, beating the time of Kelsey J. Van Shaw, which was going up there in 4 minutes 18. It's been blown apart because Fua went up there at 3 minutes 22 seconds.
Category 1 riders going up the climb 55 seconds quicker than the Category 2 leaders. It's only 1.6 kilometers in length. That is phenomenal.
But that is because that is where we have seen this, what Catherine Fua hosts is going to be a race-winning attack. Now, let's jump back in with Categories 3 and 4. Category 4 here are doing an amazing job here of holding off the Category 3 Do you think there's a little bit of tactical, let's wait a little while from the Category 3 just to, no, they don't want to actually make that engagement almost with the group?
Well, they've got 2.1 kilometres to go in this race. And, well, I think everyone's starting to think about the finish now. So Alvarez, Vasquez, Bago and Idzik are about to be joined by Nikki Lloyd. So 5 riders at the front of the Category 4 race. Bergin, Estelle, Hill and Montoya, 4 riders at the front of the Category 3 race. And everyone now with 2 kilometres to go is thinking, how do I win this race? Well, how do you win this race? This is a great question for the riders, because currently we've got a group of 5 leading Category 4, a group of 4 leading Category 3. It's an even bigger group leading Category 2, but 2 riders leading Category 1. Well, and those 2 riders leading Category 1, this is the chasing 3 behind, may well become a group of 5 again. Bates and Fua are at the front, and they're doing a job to stay there, but the chasing 3 are in close contention. Look at the size of that group in Category 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's 9 riders at the front of Category 2 with 3 kilometres to go.
4K to go for Category 1, 3 to go for Category 2. Categories 3 and 4, they are really motoring at the moment now. Korczynski on the chase, Bruni on the chase as well. They are breaking up in pursuit, though, of Bates. Bates, though, has got a gap in front of her because Fua has gone again, and Fua is starting to drop Bates. This is going to be tough stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how they make this work here today, because we have got a run in that is, in our terms of esports, technical. i.e. it's hard to see where the finish line is until you come around it. That's difficult whatever discipline you're in. If you're racing for the line, you can't see it. But we have a simple finish in terms of terrain, in terms of gradient change. It's basically flat in the run to the finish. It's not going to make a huge difference here in the women's race. Here on MyWhoosh, on qualifier race number 2, it's coming in towards its conclusion. The very fastest riders, categories 3 and 4, are together at 34.2k, 34.3, 700 meters left. Categories 4 and 3 are together. The riders are sharpening those wits. They're tightening up the straps on the shoes. They are going to make sure everything is ready, because this is going to be about the sprint. It's going to be about who jumps first, and I don't think it's going to be long. I think we're going to see a long sprint here. 500 meters to go.
Well, this is the culmination of the Category 3 race and the Category 4 race, and they are both within 400 metres of the finish line. Around that right-hand bend ahead is where they are heading, and the move is opening up behind, because Nikki Lloyd is pushing on. She's trying to come from the back of the group towards the front, and Vasquez is pushing on to these riders in Category 4, really starting to move, but it's Catherine Montoya who's gone at 14 watts per kilo. Montoya in Category 3 has kicked. Philippa Hill is there as well. It's Hill and Montoya neck and neck. I think that was Hill who took that from Montoya in Category 3. Back in the race, Idzik looks as though she may have taken Category 4. I can confirm Philippa Hill from Montoya, from Estelle and Bergin in Category 3. In Category 4, Idzik, Bago, Vasquez, Alvarez and Lloyd.
What a race, what a run into the finish. What called ever there. It's not just the riders who need their wits about them when we have a finish like that. And I'm not sure how our team behind the scenes keep their fingers moving on those cameras to get them in there. Now, Category 2 and 1 still to come into the finish. Category 2 on the right-hand side of your screen in the green jerseys, black shorts, plus the sprint leader in that category. And that is Kelsey Jade Van Shaw, who also has been climbing so strongly as well. She's shown that she's got a sprint. Will she be able to take that out? Left-hand side of your screen, the group that you see are our leaders. As predicted, basically, we have 4 together, with it potentially becoming 5, with the chase coming from Menezes behind. I think she should just about make contact here. It's going to be an interesting run for the line. 33.3k covered for Category 1. 34.1 coming into the last few hundred metres there. Category 3 sprint 4 places.
Well, Category 3 is sprinting for places. It's Claudia Hyde from Kekkonen from De Silva. Interestingly, the move was on at the beginning of Category 1 for a long attack, and it was Kulczynski that was going, but this is Category 2, and they've got 700 metres to go. Now, 9 riders in here in Category 2, and in the mix, they've also got Category 3 riders as well. So the push is on Walkenhurst. So is Wagner, and Wagner is riding. So Walkenhurst is pushing. So is Lytton. Lytton is the rider pushing at the front here. Prado is giving chase. So is Smithers. Smithers comes really hard and fast from behind. So does Svanström. This is a long one. They've still got 400 metres to go. So Brittany Lytton in 1. Marcel Smithers in 2. Smithers goes over the top. So does Svanström. Svanström's pace is strong. She is pushing, but can she hold this? They're not at the line yet, and Dana Wagner may have timed this beautifully, but so has Walkenhurst. Walkenhurst is at 9. Wagner's at 9.5. They are side by side, but it's Wagner versus Walkenhurst from Lundin from Svanström. That was great sprinting from Category 2.
Amazing, Tammy. It shows you just how critical it is. Really, really long for the run for the line by Lytton, and then that big chase behind. Now, Category 1 are going to come in. They've seen lots of different ways to do this. Can they make it stick? Fua in the mix.
Well, Fua's in the mix. Fua's already gone out front because Fua has kicked on with 500 metres to go. She's gone for a long one. Who's going to respond from behind? Well, Bruni is there. So is Bates and Kulczynski, but they've not kicked as hard yet with 400 metres to go. Fua is out front. Now the move comes from behind. It's Mel Bruni wanting second place. Bruni, let's not forget, is Fua's teammate. Fua has the gap. Bruni is moving on. Now Lou Bates starts to respond. So Fua in 1, Bruni in 2, Bates coming through. Catherine Fua is going to take the win today because they're not coming fast enough. Your winner, Category 1, Catherine Fua. Well, Bates comes from behind, pushing on as well. So the return of Lou Bates, Merle Bruni, Kristen Kulczynski. And, well, the race is there in front of you. Catherine Fua taking the win, 53.57. That is the fastest women's race in Belgium.
And that race where Catherine Fua set that time here today was one where she really did do the damage. You could see when she attacked, when she put in that final sprint, nobody had the power to respond and to close her down.
Well, not only holding the fastest time in the women's race in Belgium, she now cements the lead in the number of wins.
Another stat for Emma's big books, plural of stats, which are steadily being amassed on the shelves here at Full Speed Events, bringing you the commentary. Emma, Martin and myself, Matt Payne. Absolute pleasure to put words to the action as always. Do give us a follow. It's at Matt Fix Payne for me and at Biking Emma for Emma. You can see them on your screens. Do make sure you give at MyWhoosh a follow. Jump on board your bike. Download the app on the MyWhoosh website. Click the links on there. Come join us for some of the racing. Don't forget, there is coming up a chance to ride on the World Championships courses as well. They are going to be in the Flamme Rouge event. Make sure you go onto the website for details of that, or onto the Facebook page for the MyWhoosh Indoor Cycling. We have done qualifier number 2 for our women. Our next race is the qualifier number 2 for the men. The men over in Alula on the Heritage course. Please do join us for that. If you want to watch back any of the racing on MyWhoosh, make sure you subscribe, tick the button, make sure you follow along. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our riders for keeping us entertained and showing us just how good they are. Thank you to the team behind the scenes, and thank you to Emma on the other side of the studio as well. From Emma, myself and all of the team here, though, it's time for us to say we'll see you, hopefully, for the men's race.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.